businesses could reopen under restrictions and would need to limit how many people are inside. Places of worship could resume services along with entertainment venues, but with fewer people at a time. And the number of people allowed to gather in groups would increase, but the governor's office didn't say by how much. Playgrounds could reopen and nursing homes would stay under restrictions.
Again, to move into any of these phases, the state has to show that the number of cases is dropping or leveling off. Let's take a look now at phase 3. That would come 4 to 6 weeks after phase 2. In phase 3, restrictions on high-risk groups would ease up, but social distancing will still be encouraged. All businesses that reopened back in phase 2 could now increase how many people are allowed inside, and the number of people allowed together would also increase. Nursing home restrictions would continue.
All right, and speaking of parts of our area opening back up, sports are starting to come back, but without fans. The first one up is NASCAR, because those races are expected to start in about 2 weeks. WFMY News 2's Amanda Ferguson tells us how NASCAR fans are feeling about races coming back and having to watch them on TV.
Let's now check the 4 to 5 roundup this afternoon. Today, workers at some of America's largest companies are striking, accusing their employers of covering up the scale of COVID-19 in their workplace and not providing personal protective equipment. Amazon, Whole Foods, Instacart, and Target-owned Shipt say they are walking out today on May 1st, a holiday commonly celebrated to honor workers. All of their demands look a bit different, but overall they want more paid sick leave, access to PPE, better pay, and enforcement of social distancing. Meanwhile, while other businesses are taking a hit, Amazon is doing just fine. The online retail giant sold more than $75 billion in the first 3 months of this year. Most attribute the big gain to online shopping during the pandemic. That translates to nearly $10,000 in sales every second. Economists called the numbers staggering. And Whole Foods joins the list of retailers that will require customers to wear a mask while they shop. But the grocery chain says they'll provide those face coverings for people as they come inside. The company says this is to help protect the safety and health of team members and communities. They'll roll out all the masks to markets next week.
Well, temperatures are comfortable, let's say. Maybe slightly cool, depending on your viewpoint. I actually love this, but some people say, a little bit warmer in Chilton. We'd like that. But 63 in Greensboro, 62 in Winston-Salem. If you head to the mountain communities, it does drop substantially. The air is fairly dry now that we're chasing all the clouds out by overnight tonight. But 48 in Galax, 58 in Mount Airy. 46 will be your low tonight, where we'll clear out. It'll be a little bit chilly to start the day, but a 30-degree warm-up. That tells you the dry air is out and about. Mostly sunny for your Saturday. It is a beautiful weekend. You can see some of the cloud cover lingering here and there. We've got some sprinkles in the eastern parts of the viewing area as you head out of Alamance County and over toward the Triangle. We got a couple of showers there. Most of that is just a dying memory as we see that front pull off the coast. High pressure will start to build in, and boy, do we warm up. We're going to talk about the weekend forecast and most of next week in just a little bit, and we are all over the place with temperatures. But in the short term for the weekend, good stuff. We'll have that coming up.
If you're hoping to make extra money through a side hustle or maybe starting a business from home, those in the business world say it is still a good idea to do it, but you do have to approach it in a smart way. I talked with Mike Nunez today. He's the CCO of InkFile. He shared some tips on what budding entrepreneurs should do and what to avoid. Number one, he says you need to understand your value proposition. So in layman terms, that means what sets you apart from other businesses? Why will people come to you instead of others? Next, you have to understand your financials.
How much this thing is going to cost you to make, how much it's going to cost you to sell it in terms of marketing costs, and then how much you're actually going to make from it.
This way you are running through the numbers to make sure this venture is worth your while. And number three, Nunez says, is you have to have a business plan in place.
Your chances of hitting your target go way up if you're aiming at it, right? So if you're saying this is where I want to be and this is when I want to be there, then you can start planning how you can accomplish that in that time period.
Now let's get into some pitfalls. Nunez says aligning yourself with the wrong online platform to sell your product can be detrimental. The three he recommends are Shopify, Amazon, and Etsy. Another is not protecting yourself from liability if something goes wrong and you get sued. Nunez says it's a good idea to establish yourself as a limited liability company, or you may know it as an LLC. He says the LLC acts like a barrier between your personal assets and your business assets.
If you own your home, right, they can't pierce the LLC and take your home away, right? Whereas if it's just you at home starting this business with no corporation, now if something goes wrong, they sue you personally and everything that you have is at risk.
He also had some great advice on how to start a brick and mortar business. I'll have those tips up for you shortly on our website. So earlier today, I asked you all on Facebook, do you have a side hustle? Maybe you plan to start one. Let's get into some of your comments and what you had to say. Dale Bishop writes here, I sell vinyl records online. He does this with a sibling of his. We had 60,000 records when we started. After a year, we still have a lot, but we've put a lot of orphaned music into loving homes and gotten some sorely needed side income. Marilyn writes, I sell paparazzi jewelry. And Michelle writes, I'm Instacarting right now for good money and we have a shortage of shoppers. And James writes, Grubhubbing. It's a lot easier now and safe. Go through the drive-thru, go to the house, leave the food in front of the door, knock or ring the bell, and you wave and say thank you from in front of your car. I've always thought about having a side hustle, but I feel like there's nothing that I'm passionate about that I would actually want to earn money from. And when I was speaking with Mike Nunez, he says that's a good way to start a business, is something that you're passionate about, but there's that level of when passion becomes your main source of income, and you for yourself will decide that if it's worth it to maybe quit your full-time job and pursue that passion project full-time. So I will continue to be reading your comments here on the live stream. Is there a side hustle that you're doing or maybe you want to do? Right in the WFMY News 2 Facebook page, stream, and we'll get the conversation started that way. We'll be right back.
I'll bet it's safe to say that all of us will tell stories about the pandemic in 2020 probably for the rest of our lives. But the old adage that a picture is worth 1,000 words really describes what one local photographer is doing. Take a look.
So we see lots of news coverage, obviously, talking about the pandemic, and we see images of this, that, and the other, but there's nothing like a still image that really captures the moment. Nobody knows that better than Todd Turner, our guest today. Todd, you're doing this cool series for a local paper. Tell me all about this.
This project, Faces of the Pandemic, kind of stemmed off the inspiration of several other projects that we were seeing. I noticed a lot of these projects around, and we wanted to do something to reach the community and to basically give them a platform to send their sentiments and thoughts out into the world. And it was something that started out pretty small and has since blossomed into this kind of movement in the city, which is really a beautiful thing. And we're really happy to provide that vehicle for our community. It's very nice to have such powerful eyes kind of peering over the mask and then accompanying the message to really hammer that home as far as what they may be feeling, because we give them the opportunity to say whatever they would like.
Do you have one or two that stood out to you as some of your favorites?
I think a lot of them really resonated with me, but I will have to say the one of Mayor Vaughn was the first one that we shot, and I thought it would be an iconic moment to be able to photograph that in the middle of our most popular downtown street with nobody around.
Well, they are definitely some beautiful moments. Thanks, Todd. We'll be watching for your stuff in Triad City Beat.
So if you want to see the entire collection, all you have to do is go to WFMYnews2.com, and after the show, we'll have a link so you can link in and see some of those images. Incredible stuff he's done. And he said during the course of the interview, he said, he's talking about the face mask and how it covers up the nose and the mouth, and it forces you to really look at the eyes. And he said that old adage of the eyes are the window to the soul is true. And I agree with that. You read so much into those images when you take out everything else, but just focus on the eyes.
Eric, that's exactly what I was going to say, that, usually you looked into someone's eyes to know what they're feeling, but with the face mask on, you really have no choice other than to read their emotion based on what their eyes look like. Really powerful shots.
There really is. I think Blanca Cobb would probably say you take away the body language and you look right into the heart.
Makes sense. All right. Well, we can't wait to look at that entire collection once it's online. Thank you so much. All right, we are still live streaming on WFMY News 2's Facebook page. Join our conversation there. Use our hashtag 4to5, and we'll see you after the break.
Hey there, Christian Morgan, and week 2 of News 2 Science Geeks. We're spending a lot more time at home right now, just like you are, most likely. And so we on the weather team thought it might be cool to show you some fun science experiments that you can do at home that also teach you a little bit about what it could have to do with our current weather setup. So for today, we're actually going to be crushing this can by creating a little low pressure system. So just a couple things that you need. I've got a bowl of cold water. I've actually got ice in it to make it really cold. And I've also put some blue food coloring in it as well, just so you can see it better. I also really like blue. I'm also kind of wearing a navy blue shirt, so there you go. You also need a glass of just regular old tap water. In fact, you don't need a whole lot. We won't even use all of this. And then you need just a regular aluminum can. I've already drank this and actually washed this can out, so there's nothing in the can right now. You'll also need a pair of tongs as well, and you'll need a parent or somebody to help you do this experiment, because we are going to be using the stove and it could get hot, which could be dangerous. So the first thing that we're going to do is take our empty can, and you don't need a whole lot of water, just a couple tablespoons is enough. And I've actually got a towel here because most of the time I do spill things, and clearly today is no different. So we'll put a couple tablespoons of water in there, and that's really all you need. We'll put that over there and just dab off the excess water. And then this is the part that you probably want a parent or somebody to help you with, because we're going to put this can on the stove, okay? So I've actually already got this. I've already got one can that I poured the water into, and I've got the stove on medium to high heat, and I've already set that there so it can kind of get going, because this can take a few minutes before that water starts to boil. So what we're going to watch for and wait for is the water in this can to start boiling. When it does, we'll see a little bit of a water vapor coming out of the top of this can, and that's how we'll know that we're ready to move on to the next step in the experiment. So now we just wait for it to heat up and start boiling, and we just watch the clock. Alright, so the water in our can is starting to boil. It took a couple minutes, and if you could tell, my dog was not at all interested in science. So hopefully you are. So the water's starting to boil. You can hear it in the can. And we've also got a little bit of this water vapor starting to come up out of the top of the can. We don't have a pretty steady stream of that just yet, so we'll give it a couple more seconds so it'll start to do that. In the meantime, go ahead and get your tongs right in. You also want a parent or somebody to help you with this, because this is a part that could be a little dangerous, especially since we're taking this off the stove. And it's going to be one quick, swift motion from the stove over to our bowl of cold water. So we've got a pretty good stream of water vapor coming out of the top of the can now. So go ahead and make sure that you get a good grip on the can so that you don't drop it. And it's going to be a really quick motion, and we'll watch what happens. Are you ready? All right, let's go. And then we dunk it right over in our cold water. And then the can crushes right in front of your eyes, just like that. And in fact, a little bit of the water from the bowl actually went into the can, and we'll talk about why that happens in just a moment. So pretty cool experiment, right? So let's talk about really why that happened. So first off, cold air is a lot more dense than warm air is. So we had cold water in the can. Of course, I had went ahead and put that one on the stove so it could start warming up. And as that air warmed up and got hot, it actually turned into a gas. So it turned into water vapor, which is what we saw coming out of the can. So the molecules in the can were moving around really, really fast, and they were pushing out on the walls of the can. But as soon as that temperature change happened, when we dunked it into the cold water, all of those molecules condensed and the can imploded right in front of our eyes. So when we talk about weather, we talk a lot about low pressure systems and high pressure systems. And what we did was actually create a little low pressure system here in this can. So when we talk about high pressure, that's when air moves away from the center of circulation. We call that divergence. And on the other hand, when we talk about low pressure, that's when air at the surface comes together or converges, and then it rises and condenses to form the clouds, which of course that's why we associate low pressure with rainy days, high pressure with much more sunny days. So hopefully you enjoyed this experiment. Hopefully you can try it at home. If you do, please let us know. Also, don't forget to turn off the stove if you do use it. And that'll wrap it up for week 2 in our News 2 Science Geek segment. Can't wait to see you next week.
Love it. You learn something all the time. Professor Christian Morgan today, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we look at a couple of sprinkles and showers out there. Most of this is in northern parts of Guilford County and across Alamance. It is moving to the east and southeast, so gradually we will clear out overnight tonight. When you look at the bigger picture here, yeah, all that clear air to the left, that's coming into our backyards and heading out of here. High pressure builds in. Remember that clockwise flow around the high. So if you're on the left side of that, that's a warmer flow out of the southwest. And that's absolutely what we'll see as we head through the weekend. Weekend looks really nice. Now, next week, we're roller coaster. We're all over the place with temperatures and even rain chances. They're a little bit scattered across the area too. But as far as temperatures go and enjoying Saturday and Sunday, I think we're going to be in good shape. Here's what it looks like tonight. Clearing out, it'll be cool with a 46-degree overnight low. Now, remember, we hit that in the early morning hours. So when you factor this in, we normally see about a 20-degree difference in a high and a low. Not exactly, but thereabouts. But tomorrow's high is up to 76 after the morning low of 46. That tells you that's a drier air mass moving in courtesy of that high pressure. So 7-day forecast shows 76 with sunshine. It's a beautiful Saturday there. Sunday, 20% chance of rain, but we don't expect much from that, and that's an 84-degree high, 10 degrees above normal for Sunday. Then heading into next week, rain chances a little bit Monday and Wednesday, but Tuesday's the target, 50-50 shot of rain. 79 on Monday. We'll go to the mid-60s for your Tuesday, and we bounce around a little bit next week temperature-wise, but really, in my opinion, most of these are comfortable, right? 74 on Wednesday, that's a 30% chance of a shower. Thursday, mostly sunny, 63, and Friday, look for a couple of extra clouds, but still just partly cloudy, and a high of 65.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together.
Hey, mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4. Talking about DJ Reader, giving back to the community.
Stress that this is a fluid situation. They just want to make sure everybody's safe. Coming. Okay, my mic is plugged in. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Mic check. Mic check, mic check. 1, 2, 3. Let me try to replug it in. Hold on. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. Mic check. 1, 2, 3.
Good Friday afternoon and welcome back to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner. Let me step out of the way so you can see who this is. That's Eric Chilton. Taheshah Moise is also here this afternoon. I was blocking you, Eric. Sorry about that. But we are all here. This is an interactive news show. We want to connect and communicate with you. That's why we are live streaming right now on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. Join our conversation and use our hashtag 4 to 5. Well, since the start of this pandemic, store shelves, they've looked somewhat bare. Store employees, manufacturers, even truck drivers are working overtime to make sure customers have access to items like toilet paper and cleaning products. There's a possibility that disinfectants will be hard to keep stocked for the next few months. Let's connect the dots.
If you are still looking for disinfectant cleaning products, it could be a while before you see them back on store shelves. Let's connect the dots. At the start of this pandemic, there was a lot of panic buying. We all saw the pictures of toilet paper and Lysol wipes flying off the shelves. But at a lot of stores, the paper products are slowly returning. The cleaning supplies, not so much. And people who study supply chains say you can expect it to be like that for a couple more months. The chemicals that go into some popular cleaning products are manufactured in China. And it's not like you can just ship them overnight. It takes about 4 weeks for a shipment to arrive. And on top of that, some of those factories in China were shut down while the country dealt with COVID-19. That seriously disrupted the supply chain. Despite that, some of the big companies are still blaming increased demand, saying the shelves are being restocked. People are just snatching up those items as soon as they see them. Meanwhile, at least one supply chain expert told CNN, you probably won't see popular cleaning products like disinfectant wipes for sale on a widespread basis until July or August.
You don't have to look far to see good being done around our community. Greensboro native and NFL player DJ Reader has found a way to give back to his Triad community during the coronavirus pandemic. WFMY News 2's Luke Liddon is live with more on DJ Reader's mission. Luke.
Yeah, Taheshah. Now, DJ Reader is a Grimsley High School alum, and although he's played in the NFL for 4 years now, it's almost like he hasn't even left Greensboro with the way he gives back to the community year in and year out. Now, most of us are aware of the annual camps Reader holds for the youth at his alma mater. Really, it's just another way for him to give back to his community, knowing the impact it brings for all the young children who look up to him. And now, amidst this pandemic, Reader partnered with United Way of Greater Greensboro to continue that tradition.
Me being from Greensboro, I've teamed up with the United Way of Greater Greensboro to help provide meals, help with mortgages, help with rents, help with school supplies, anything that we can right now during this pandemic to help keep people safe. I want you guys to know that I'm practicing social distancing and trying my best to do whatever I can to stay COVID-free. I'd like y'all to do the same. Join in efforts and everybody staying safe.
How great is that? It's always awesome to see those type of people give back to the community, especially during this time of need, I should say. And he recently signed with the Cincinnati Bengals, so be sure to keep an eye out for him next season, hopefully when it continues on time, but of course, time will tell enough.
I'm not here to say, well, I can't wait till year 2 or year 3. We're here to win now. And so I'm going to work very, very hard to make sure that we get all these young men back here at the Wake Forest this coming year, so we can have a very special season. That's always been my mission as a coach, is to help young men turn their dreams into reality. And the job of a coach, is to get those young men to do the things they don't want to do in order to get the things they want in life.
The Wake Forest Demon Deacons are hoping for future success on the basketball court as Steve Forbes joins as the team's new head coach. So in light of the Deacs' new hire, I asked you on my Facebook page who you thought the best basketball coach, past or present, was. We had some fun since it was Friday. No surprise here, my page is a little bit biased. We had mostly Tar Heel coaches. John Scott said, I'm a Tar Heels fan. I think that Coach Dean Smith is the best. But Laura Hant said Jimmy V for the Wolfpack, another great. Bobby Anderson said Coach Roy Williams, no one more qualified for the Tar Heels. And James said John Wooden. The team stayed together, none of this one and done. All right, Eric Chilton, I think I know who yours is, judging from everything on your bookcase, but go ahead and tell us.
Yes, yeah, I'll cover all that up. Yes, I would say, so I'm going to say Dean Smith and Roy Williams in that order, but if you take my bias out of it, then I think you have to go with Coach K after that. And I would say Norm Sloan with NC State, and then Jimmy V, and maybe even Terry Holland when you go back to the Ralph Sampson days. So the guy that brings up Wooden, I've had that argument with people for years. First of all, he wasn't in the ACC, but if you're talking about the whole country, back then, he's right. Nobody left. You get a dynasty, you get great players when they're freshmen, they're all staying. So they could win a lot in a row, back in those days. And now people come and go so fast.
Yeah, I think the ACC, though, has been so blessed to have so many great coaches throughout the year. I mean, even coaches who have coached Olympic teams, and you know who I'm talking about, obviously, Coach K, another great coach. Even if I don't love the team always, we have to give props where props are due, right?
It's exactly right. I don't know what each team would do without the other one. All right, temperature-wise, now I can tell you what I want to do with this. I'd like to keep the warmer weather in. That's what I want to do. And when you look at the numbers, I mean, I'll take 63 right now, but I would like to bump it up just a smidge. We will do that for your weekend. Weekend's looking good. We've got some 50s in the mountains right now, 60s here. As you head to the planning forecast for tomorrow, hey, we start out chilly, 46, but we'll jump up about 20 degrees by midday and then another 10 or less to get up to that 76. So sunny and 76, that, my friends, is a great Saturday. We do have a couple of sprinkles on the radar now. That'll be short-lived. It looks like all that will be moving east and south pretty quickly. In fact, we go out to a big view here. You see all that clear air over to the left. I call that severe clear. We love that. That's moving in for the weekend. Sunday, maybe a couple of clouds, but our temperatures are going to spike as we head into the second half of the weekend and maybe even the first part of the week. Here is the setup. We've got that low pressure center to the south of us. And as that moves on, remember that's that big bubble of high pressure. Sometimes we call that the bubble of no trouble. And as that high moves on to the east and south, our winds will shift out of a southwest direction, eventually just south. And that southerly flow brings in the warmer air. Always does, always will. And that's what happens into the weekend. It will build on itself, we think, as we go into the next couple of days. So we get a little warmer and warmer until some changes come up with another front. But tonight it is clearing and cool. Winds will be light, so we weren't that windy today compared to yesterday. But look like sunset about 8:08. Now, as we head into tomorrow, a cool start, but then a 76-degree high with sunshine. Very pleasant. Wind southwest 5 to 10. That warm flow continues. Here is your 7-day forecast with 84 on Sunday. That's 10 degrees above normal for this time of the year. And then Monday it's 79. Now, rain chances start to slip in a little bit. 30% Monday, 50-50 shot Tuesday. We're cooler at 66 for Tuesday, but back to the 60s with sunshine for Thursday and Friday.
All right, it is May 1st. What if you cannot pay your rent? Or what if you can't pay all of your rent? Well, the government has asked landlords, of course, to work with the tenants, and we've heard this before.
Right, and then we've heard about this security net of the courts that are not going to process those eviction papers until June 1st.
Right, which is a great thing, right? Because, we don't want folks to, be scared that they have to leave where they are. But I don't want you to hear no eviction means no payment.
If you're having trouble making your rent payments, you should contact your landlord and discuss with them possible workout arrangements, delayed payment or something like that. But if you don't pay your rent and don't reach an agreement with your landlord, when courts reopen, which right now is scheduled to be June 1st, and that could change, but when courts reopen, your landlord likely will file and ask the court to evict you.
Yeah, and you don't want to be in that mess, right? Especially if it could have been helped by just having a plan and talking to them.
Right, so there are businesses that are giving discounts or maybe suspending those payments. But Tanya, can your landlord raise your rent on you?
This is a really good question because there are folks out there who are like, okay, I've got a lease and it's up for renewal and my landlord's going to raise my rent at this time? And the answer is, yeah, they can. We're going to talk about it at 6 o'clock. All right, so we need some good news with all of that, right? It is Friday, and I know the days of the week, they kind of run together. They aren't as normal as they used to be, but here's the thing. Today is Good News Friday. Yes, we could all use it no matter what day it is. We're spending 30 minutes showcasing all the good that is happening near you. It's what brings joy to you, and it starts at 5:30.
WFMY News 2 is helping families give seniors a reason to smile with senior shout outs. They may be missing their graduations in their usual form this year because of the pandemic. So we are asking you to send in their photos and a list of their accomplishments so we can celebrate them. Let's get into some of our seniors we have today. Justin Harvell is a senior at Northwest High School. He's attending transfer classes at GTCC in the fall. He'll be studying computer science. His family says they are so proud of him. Gracie Solomon is a senior at Northeast Guilford High School. She's a member of the Technical Honor Society. She attended Weaver for culinary studies, and she'll be attending GTCC to follow her passion for baking. Her family says they are so proud of Gracie and hope her dreams come true. Bridget Arroyo's dream is to work in law enforcement. She volunteers at Kaiser Permanente. She loves volleyball and basketball. Her family says she's known what she's wanted to do with her career since 5th grade. Big congratulations to all of our seniors graduating this year. If you want to share your senior shout outs with us, just find this submission form on our website. Submit photos of your seniors. We're asking you not to send professional photos. Be sure to include their name and their school, and you can also include a personal message with your shout out. The 4 to 5 will continue right after the break.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. So a symptom of COVID-19 is a fever, and as businesses look toward reopening, they're trying to find ways to monitor employees' body temperature. But how do you know which thermometer to use? Our Jason Puckett verifies.
Search online and there are lots of thermometers you can buy. So which is best and how can you get the most accurate results? To find out, we asked Nisa Ernst. She's the nurse manager in endoscopy and biocontainment at Johns Hopkins Hospital.
We have found is that the temporal thermometers actually work the best.
Temporal thermometers are a newer type that you place against your forehead to get a reading. It's that fast too.
Yeah, it's that fast. And then you're simply wiping it down with an alcohol wipe, and you can take the next employee that's coming in.
So they're quick, easily cleaned, and Ernst says they're by far the most accurate. But they are more expensive and not as easy to find. So what about infrared or digital thermometers? They're all over online and in stores. Is that better than nothing?
Absolutely, no question. And everybody should have a thermometer like this at home.
Ernst says most modern thermometers are pretty accurate, but the infrared and digital ones are more likely to be affected by outside factors like the temperature of the room or sunlight. Still, any thermometer works as long as you test at the right time.
Go out and get a basic thermometer and take your basic temperature before you're febrile.
The CDC says for most, a fever is temperatures above 100.4 degrees, but some people run hot or cold. So if you test before you have a fever, you can compare that number when you are feeling sick. Even if you're above or below the average, you'll know if the temperature is high for you. So now you've got a thermometer. Where should you test on your body? Ernst says rectal tests are the most accurate, but most people won't do that. Next would be an oral test, and she said ear thermometers are often off by a few degrees. So bottom line, Ernst highly recommended temporal thermometers, especially for businesses that are looking for a quick and sanitary way to test employees coming back to the office. But she also said any thermometer is better than none. The key is testing before you're feeling sick so you know if your temperature is higher than normal. Oh, and last thing, if you have a glass thermometer.
And the simple message is glass thermometer, get rid of it.
A new viral trend is keeping people entertained while staying home. Getty Museum started this challenge a few weeks ago to help people pass the time. Now, people are showing off their skills by recreating famous works of art with things they just have lying around the house, all those household items. The Getty's Annalisa Steffen counts more than 100,000 submissions so far. And one person transformed Frida Kahlo's parrots to cleaning products. And one pet owner got creative using their pug to recreate the pug with the pearl earring instead of, the girl with the pearl earring. An Oregon family recreated Botticelli's Venus using a tablecloth and an inner tube. Very creative.
I love that last one. Let's take a look at the readings right now, and I want to show you regionally what's going on. 63 degrees in the Triad. Charlotte is up to 69. We'll bump that to 73 in Columbia. It's always warm there, isn't it, at 5 points? 71 along the Grand Strand and Myrtle Beach, where they are ready to get rolling again. I know with the tourism industry there, they probably are chomping at the bit. 70 in Wilmington, 70 in Hatteras. All right, here's your planning forecast for tomorrow. Starting out chilly, 46 will be mostly clear, maybe a cloud or two here or there, but for the most part, tomorrow is all sunshine. And look at that warm up, about 20 degrees from the early morning where we see our low to midday. 76 will be the high tomorrow afternoon with sunshine. That is a beautiful Saturday. You look at the cloud covered radar now, we do have a couple of sprinkles, most of it in the eastern edge of the viewing area from eastern Guilford County through Alamance and over toward Chatham County as well. That's where we're seeing some light rain. That's moving into the Chapel Hill, Durham, and Raleigh area probably in the next 30 minutes, if not a little bit earlier. All of that slipping to the south and to the east. Now, to the west, a high pressure ridge is doing its job and building in. Notice we were cool on the backside of that low pressure that brought storms the other day, but with the high pressure moving into place, whether it's just to the south of us or southeast, it doesn't matter. It's still a warmer flow. So that keeps that warmer air coming in. In fact, we think by Sunday, we could be 10 degrees above normal with high temperatures as all of this starts to move through. Just know that that front we see, I think that stays to the north of us on Sunday, but we'll keep that 20% chance in just in case any of our northern counties see a sprinkle from that. But it's beautiful, sunny and 76 for your Saturday. Here's your weekend main points graphic. Lots of sun, comfortable on Saturday. Getting a little warm on Sunday. Lots of sunshine then too with clouds building. We think we'll probably see a couple of clouds in the northern area, but the 7-day forecast showing 79 on Monday with a slight chance of rain, 30%. For your Tuesday, it's a 50-50 shot with a high of 66. Wednesday, rain chances drop 30%, but a nice high of 74. And we're back to the low to mid 60s with sunny to partly cloudy skies to end next week.
Well, it is time for us to take a look in our email bag where we answer your questions, your comments, and your concerns. And today's question comes from Phyllis Crone, who commented on our Facebook live stream. She asked, why aren't the health departments in High Point and Greensboro saying how many cases daily? Well, first, thank you so much for your question, Phyllis. County health departments, they do report the number of cases each day, and then the local departments send their information to the state health department, and then the state updates the numbers on their website. But we've made it a lot easier for you. Take a look here at our website. Every day we post these numbers on this story, coronavirus case updates for the Piedmont Triad. Again, you can find this on WFMYnews2.com, and you can find the different counties and see how many cases there are each and every day. And again, we update that as soon as those new numbers come in. If you have a question that you want answered, you can email us at 4to5@WFMY.com. You can also ask our questions like Phyllis did on our live stream.
And more than 1 million people have recovered from coronavirus worldwide. That's according to Johns Hopkins University, who is leading the charge of tracking it worldwide. What we do know is that the U.S. is leading in the most recoveries worldwide. More than 153,000 people have recovered in the U.S. Makes sense if you think about our population size. Germany has the second highest in recoveries with nearly 127,000 recoveries. Also of note, the U.S. has completed more than 6 million tests, and nearly 129,000 of those tests have been administered here in North Carolina. I know a lot of people, Maddie, tend to focus, on the number of cases, but I do think it is important to stress that people are recovering from COVID-19. It's not an immediate death sentence, if you do get COVID-19. And I think it is important to share those recoveries and let people know where that information is, because just if you happen to miss, the 3-4 seconds, or maybe even 15 seconds, we say it here on air, doesn't mean the information is not out there.
And that's a good point, Taheshah, and a great way to start our weekend right, with reminding people that there is an end to this, and it's all going to end soon, and we'll keep praying for everyone affected. We'll see you after the break.